powered by Reviting, streaming from the Reviting Digital Studio. It's the David Daily. Exploring frontier technology, artificial intelligence, quantum innovation, and the intersection of faith, funding, and the future. Here's your host, David Goki.
Episode 28. Can you believe it? Welcome to the David Daily. We are here live for a Sunday edition, special Sunday edition, on the road traveling. We love that you are here every single day. We're coming to you live across all major platforms, and it is a real pleasure to be here. Christmas is behind us, the holiday season, Resurrection Sunday is coming in this new year, and it is a brand new day today. We're so grateful that you are joining us. You know, the markets are very quiet today. It is Sunday. Sunday is a day of rest. And as a technologist, as someone who cares about the latest news, it is important to realize that, actually, we can actually see that we have a lot of folks in the news. So today we talk about funding, we talk about faith, and we talk about the future of technology. This is so incredibly important. And that is why we run this show every single day. And that's why we're here. We're so thankful that you're here. So if you are tuning in for the first time, I would just ask you to comment in the chat. Tell us where you are tuning in from. It looks like we already have some folks on all platforms tuning in this morning. And if you are someone who likes to go to a religious place of worship or a show, we actually really do love that. And hopefully you're able to see that today. So for today, we're looking at topics and news events for today in funding. If you recall from this past week, we highlighted a handful of things actually. Starting first and foremost with the funding landscape, we're seeing actually last week rallied pretty well. And we actually had some markets, specifically NVIDIA had a pretty big deal for Grok, where they actually signed this deal where they said, oh yeah, we're actually going to license the LLM technology. They had a pretty big win with respect to that. It was actually very good for NVIDIA. And of course, NVIDIA wins big with technology founders who are looking for that in their ecosystem. And so if you're using any NVIDIA technology, you're going to start to see NVIDIA be embedded directly into Grok. And Grok on the hardware side, obviously we have on the software side, we're going to see that actually come to fruition as well. And so we're looking very much forward to that as those pieces kind of come together. Now, in other news, we see that not only is NVIDIA leaning in to their focus on the hardware side with Grok, but we're also seeing that actually the employees are also going to benefit as well. We see NVIDIA taking a huge leap where shareholders in Grok, which is a hot AI chip marketing company, will receive handsome payouts from the company's $20 billion deal with NVIDIA. And that's very interesting this morning as we look at this news. Also, Grok and NVIDIA on this past Wednesday announced a non-exclusive deal. That's right, it's non-exclusive, just meaning that other companies will be able to lean in for that. And I'm thinking that that's going to be very interesting because this is a hardware startup that's kind of paving the way for technologists in the world of AI, in the world of quantum. So we see that being a very interesting set of news as we come out of the gates this morning. And in fact, on Wednesday, the company said that the Grok CEO, Jonathan Ross, and President Sunny Madra would actually join NVIDIA, while Grok would continue to operate as a stand-alone company led by new CEO Simon Edwards, who had previously been the CFO. So if you're a CFO or if you're a business person and you find it interesting in the world of technology, maybe you'll be a CEO someday through an acquisition. It's very interesting to me as well. And actually, I'm not sure if you saw this, but the news article is right here showcasing that Grok itself is actually going to be embedded into these technology pieces. So NVIDIA is a big deal. They're the stock market's largest company today. Tomorrow it might be something different, but when you see partnerships like this emerge, we feel confident that the technology sector is going to be very focused on how partnerships between hardware and software can come into fruition. We see that there's going to be a very strong showing for all of the folks in the news sector for companies like NVIDIA, like others. Also, we see that there are some big Saudi startups actually scored big in 2025. From a global perspective, we do look at the Saudi folks. Saudi Arabia startup scene hit a new level in 2025, a brand new level in 2025. We see that that's actually very interesting to us in 2025, where we're actually seeing that not only did they have a fast-moving consumer platform that they built, but the top 10 biggest starting fund up rounds in Saudi Arabia recently was released according to Audi Science, which is a platform that we follow. And we love staying on top of the latest Saudi startups because AI and funding is global. We see good startups and funding coming out of the Middle Eastern regions. And we actually appreciate that we have a strong Saudi following as well, which is really good because then we get to see all those different startups that come in, and that actually makes a big difference. So in this funding startup round, we actually see that we have actually a list of the top 10. So what we're going to do is I'm going to share those right here for you also to see on the Daily David Show, where we talk about all things, and primarily we talk about funding and startups. So as you can see here, we've got a awesome Saudi startup list here. Over to my side here, you can actually see this list of startups here. And what I want to highlight on this list is the fact that we actually have 10 different deals that are coming through. We had a deal specifically called Tamara, which was a $2.4 billion deal. And that was a $2.4 billion deal that came out of Saudi Arabia, specifically founded in 2020. We saw that many folks were doing that even as early as this year, where we saw a very key focus here, where these three individuals, Abu Majid Al Saikan, Turki Ben Zara, and Abdul Mohsen Al Batan, Saudi fintech Tamara has grown into one of the region's leading buy now, pay later platforms, a financing platform. And in fact, in September of 2025, just earlier this year, the company secured a $2.4 billion Sharia compliant debt facility, the largest funding round ever for an MENA startup backed by global investors, including Goldman Sachs, Citi, and Apollo. The capital will be used to expand their credit and payment offerings and scale its platform beyond its current 20 million users, further strengthening its position across Saudi Arabia and the wider region. So as we see consumer markets focus on emerging technology and financing options, we see that this is a real opportunity for folks in the region to be financing now and paying later. We all love to get a little bit of consumer buy-in and a little bit of buying later. If you're like me, I love to shop. And it's always nice to be able to pay later if you need something right now, if you're in a tight crunch. So that's very interesting. Also, we see that the second startup in the funding piece was Ninja, $250 million. This Saudi quick commerce startup Ninja raised $250 million in one of the world's largest venture capital rounds in the MENA region in 2025, cementing its status as a unicorn. They closed that round in July of 2025 this year, and the Saudi Arabia-based Q-commerce round was led by Riyadh Capital and marked a major vote of confidence in the company's hyper-local rapid delivery model. Founded by Saudi Al Kantani and Senberk Donmez, Ninja has rapidly scaled its operations across the kingdom, and the funding is set to accelerate network expansion, logistics infrastructure, and market leadership in Saudi Arabia's highly competitive on-demand commerce sector. So we do follow commerce on this show. We've been following commerce for a long time. If you know anything about myself, you know that a startup like this is really interesting because Q-commerce, this idea that you have a quick commerce capability, is so fascinating and really wonderful. So it's really interesting, and yeah, really grateful and thankful that we have that showing up as well, which is great. And at the end of the day, it is really good to be available. It looks like we don't have any sound on TikTok, so we're gonna go figure that out here real quick. Mute microphone. Are we live now? Maybe we are, maybe we aren't. Unmute audio. Just gonna get some audio in here and go from there. I didn't. So thank you very much. All right, so in other news, we're actually looking across the kingdom at funding, faith, and fitness, and finance and future. And it's very important to lean in here. So I'm just gonna say this, that we've got some folks in the comments, which is great. Love to see that the people are showing up. And thank you so much for leaning in there. So in other news, we're going to look at Tabby, which is a $160 million company as we go down the list. And what we want to see here actually is that we have a startup here that actually is building another buy now, pay later platform. Maybe you're seeing a trend here. And what we see is that Tabby raised $160 million in this round. And what they basically said was that, you know what, buy now, pay later is a big industry. We're actually going to look at this, and in fact, we're seeing that this particular funding startup actually led to a Series E funding round in early 2025. Tabby was founded in 2019 by Hossam Arab and Danil Barkalov, and has given and grown into a regional leader in the industry. In fact, after the February funding round this year, which was led by Blue Pool Capital and Hassana Investment Company with support from Wellington Management and STV, raised Tabby's valuation to $3.3 billion, and its value later rose to $4.5 billion after a secondary share sale was issued in October this year ahead of a potential public listing. Now, we find that very interesting because this, again, is another Q-commerce startup. We love the world of Q-commerce, quick commerce, especially in the Kingdom area, because we know that we have lots of folks there that are paying attention to the Q-commerce region of e-commerce and online commerce and all of the things. So we know that's a very important piece. All right, so moving right along, we've got another funding startup here. We see that Hala, which is since being founded by Assam Al-Nadi and Maher Lubey. Hala, spelled H-A-L-A, has grown into one of Saudi Arabia's leading fintech platforms, serving micro, small, and medium expenditures and enterprises. We see that even in September of 2025, the company announced a $157 million Series B round, officially ranking among the largest fintech Series B rounds ever completed in the Middle East. The round was led by TPG's The Rise Funds, with participation from Sandbill's MENA investment platform. And while valuation details were not discussed, the capital will enable Hala to expand its embedded financial services offering, scaling across Saudi Arabia and the wider region, and deepening its role in empowering the kingdom's fast-growing SME economy. Wow, what an incredible round of funding updates. And if you're just tuning in for the first time, we thank you so much for tuning in. We're very grateful that you are here. And this is exactly what it's supposed to be, which is right in the sense of funding. And we'll move on to our segment Faith here after a quick intermission video. All right, we'll be right back. All right, we are back with another set of news. We have MENA Group, who secured, again, a $135 $1.5 million round founded in 2012. These three venture partners found a way to get funding. And this is a very interesting funding story because not only were these folks able to make the most of this, but as you can see here, this is Nasir Al-Sharif, Khaldun Tabaza, and Adi Salman, which is a Saudi-based digital platform operator in MENA Group. I just mentioned that MENA Group, they raised $135 million in a pre-IPO funding round in April of 2025. And the round consisted of a private placement and in-kind contributions, was led by Sanibel Investments, which of course is a unit of the Public Investment Fund. And in addition to that, with participation from FJ Labs, entrepreneur Sagan Yalcin, who's the founder and CEO of Sell Any Car, and the Saudi investors, the capital will be used to increase iMENA's shareholding in its three high-performing platforms. They have three high-performing platforms. One is Open Souk, SOOQ, Sell Any Car, and Genie. So it's interesting, while driving vertical geographic expansion and improving its integration across the group's portfolio. As part of the financing, iMENA restructured into a Saudi closed joint stock company underneath iMENA Holdings, and as this positions itself for a potential future public offering. We find this super interesting because, as you know, when you have a restructuring, it is very interesting to see how companies end up doing that for their future and showcasing that, sometimes a good restructure could actually lead to better business outcomes. So moving right along in our list here, we have this funding group that we just mentioned here. So we've got these three young men in Erod, and I apologize, this is the right image. So in Erod, we've got this set of funders here that got funding, actually $125 million US dollars. And Erod, which is a Riyadh headquartered fintech startup focusing on SME financing, they secured a $125 million credit facility in just November, just 1 month ago, led by global investment bank Jefferies, with a co-investment from Channel Capital, founded by Salim Abu Hamor, Youssef Saeed, and Faris Yagmor. Erod provides flexible, data-driven funding solutions designed to help small and medium-sized businesses manage cash flow and scale sustainably. We're seeing that as a theme here. The new facility will be used to expand Erod's financing capacity and accelerate its growth across Saudi Arabia and the wider GCC. We find that very interesting because GCC is an epicenter for finance and funding. And of course, it offers an alternative SME funding opportunity. So you can see that even small businesses are interested in growing. And of course, the funding partners are going to, of course, drive financing deals that drive better funding opportunities. We find that to be a theme here on Funding, Faith, and Future, a show bringing you the best opportunities, sharing them with you first here on live stream. We believe in live streams all over the world. And so here we actually have these two young fellows founding Kalo with $39 million raised. Saudi Arabia headquartered food tech startup Kalo secured $39 million in a Series B extension round in July, led by Al Jazeera Capital. You may be familiar with that. This brings Kalo's total Series B funding round to $64 million, followed by a $25 million round in 2024. You may remember that if you're following these folks closely. And that, of course, was led by Nuwa Capital, founded in 2019 by Ahmed Al-Rawi and Mayoyed Al-Mayoyed, and originally launched in Bahrain. Kalo offers personalized subscription-based meal plans using AI to help users and their customers, their clients, achieve specific health goals such as weight loss or muscle gain. And in fact, the new funding will support international expansion in the company's ambitions to go public by 2027, while scaling its platform to reach more consumers across the Gulf region and beyond. We see this as a very interesting and unique startup, and funding in the Gulf region for health and for fitness. We see that being a very real opportunity for funding and quick meals using AI to help people with food. We'll start to see that in the United States as well. So we're very excited for that. And following right along, we're just going to continue on the funding journey here. So in other news, also, we have another startup that we're going to highlight here, which is Lucidia, which raised 30 million, founded in 2016 by this young gentleman right here. We see, of course, Abdullah Asiri, Saudi Enterprises, software as a service and AI services analytics startup. Lucidia helped businesses unlock insights into customer behavior and sentiment in July. The company closed a $30 million round. And in fact, the significance of that is that 30 million Series B round, setting a record for AI-focused funding in the region. Very, very interesting. And what we love to hear about that is that we see not only the focus there, but we also see a good portion of the enterprises seeing funding in that Series B, Series C round. It was led by Impact 48 with participation from Wa'ed Ventures, aka Aramco, if you're familiar, and Takamal Ventures as well, Spark Labs, Rural Growth Fund, and ARG. The funding will support platform expansion, deeper enterprise adoption, and growth across Saudi Arabia. So that's very interesting to me. So the funding will help them scale across regional markets as well. And looks like they will be strengthening Lucidia's position as a leading customer intelligence and solution platform. And with that, we're going to take a quick break and add a little bit of another media segment in between. We'll be right back after this intermission. And we're back after that brief intermission. Thank you so much for staying attentive. So we have another startup here that we're highlighting. We see actually this company called Rise is showing $35 million in a Series A funding round led by Wa'ed Ventures. Again, Saudi prop tech startup Rise is expanding its Rent Now, Pay Later, or RNPL platform to provide tenants and businesses with more flexible leasing and rent payment setups. What's very interesting about this is that we've got a very good set of precedences set here, both in the United States and others, but also with emerging technology. And we're very interested in following this startup, especially in the RNPL space, Rent Now, Pay Later. This platform will provide tenants and businesses with the opportunity to make payments later, but still move into a residential situation. Founded in 2021 by none other than Ibrahim Bala and Mohammed Alfari. As you see, the company leverages digital tools to make property rental and payment processing easier and more accessible. Maybe we're seeing a theme here in the finance space. The funding will support platform development, market expansion across Saudi Arabia, and partnerships with landlords and real estate operators, aiming to transform the leasing experience for both tenants and businesses. What's interesting about this is as we see financing become more prevalent in the world, we're going to start to see businesses like this show up to offer affordable solutions for investors, but also for tenants and for landowners. So we find that this can be very interesting, and we can see this Rent Now, Pay Later take off with earlier and younger generations, and maybe even older generations too, who no longer want to be stuck in a mortgage or a business long-term lease. We think that's going to be very important for the future. And finally, rounding out our top 10, we have none other than BRKZ, raising 30 million. Saudi Contech startup BRKZ lands 30 million this year in a growth debt from Stride Ventures in October. Rounding up the year in our top 10 list here from the Gulf region, the new capital will support the expansion of BRKZ's flexible payments and embedded financing solutions, helping contractors and factories better manage cash flow cycles and scale operations. That's exactly right. Every business needs capital and cash flow. Founded in 2023 by Ibrahim Mana, BRKZ operates a B2B platform offering access to a wide network of suppliers and construction materials alongside multiple delivery and payment options. So this funding round will help them scale their funding and payment options. Recently selected in the Saudi Unicorns program, BRKZ follows the debt raise after completing a 17 million Series A round in February of 2025. Can you believe that? They went through $17 million in just one half of a year. And in October, they got 30 million, looking to expand their platform of integration. This is very interesting. And that actually rounds out our top 10 funding pieces. And so we're going to take a quick break and then jump into our AI and faith after this quick segment video. And we're back with quantum topics. And the first thing that I wanted to say is before we jump into that, thank you so much for folks who are watching and listening. We have folks all over watching the live stream. Thank you so much. I see 6 people right now, total viewers on one platform. I see 11 on another. Thank you so much for leaning in and watching. We pride ourselves in bringing you funding, faith, and future every single day on this show. And now it is important to share exactly what we care about when it comes to a faith perspective. So on this show, we know that there are many denominations that are watching, whether you are Christian or Jewish or Muslim or Buddhist or Hindi, or maybe you're still exploring your own faith relationship with God, with a set of deities, whether it's a monodeity, meaning one, or whether it's multiple deities, meaning plural. We care about faith and entrepreneurship, faith and business, faith and tech. So if you're interested in some of these concepts, it would be great to have you on the show. And so if you're looking to be a guest on the David Daily, we would encourage you to go to our website, guest.thedaviddaily, where you too can be a guest on this show. If you want to be a guest on this show, we've had many guests so far. We really like having guests on this show. You can go to the David Daily, pick out a day that works best for you, and then set a time. 10:45 is the time. Looks like we do have a couple of episodes coming up soon near you. So if that's something that you're interested in, please, please, please go to guest.thedaviddaily.com. We'll put that here in the bottom, and you can always catch that in the show notes as well, because every single day we are saying, well, Merry Christmas, but we're also saying that we want you to be showing in your guests show right here. So if that's you, please go ahead and sign up at guest.thedaviddaily. We would love to have you on the show. Okay, so now we're going to talk about faith topics and important faith topics of the day. First of all, it's Sunday. So if you don't have a place of worship, I would encourage you to go check out a couple of folks. I do like to shout out Destiny Church in Indio, California. They are a client of ours, and we do really enjoy building out church technology, faith technology, and all of the things when it comes to technology. We know that there is a world where technology and faith centers can actually come together. We also have a hoodie, a Proverbs hoodie here that has a cross on it, as well as it says Proverbs. So we do believe in faith-based wisdom, faith-based concepts. We enjoy faith-based wisdom on the David Daily Show, talking about funding, faith, and future. And that is exactly why we're here. So if you are a faith minister, if you're a religious pastor or preacher, if you're an apostolic minister or prophetess, if you're in the government of God, please listen. This is for you. We live in a world where technology is changing every day. We live in a world where new laws, new government regulations, new societal expectations, new cultural pop and relevant social acceptable behaviors come out every single day. So we need more people like you to stand up for what is right, what is good, and what is ethical and moral, to lead the masses. There's a proverb that says, the rewards are great, but the workers are few. So we want to see more workers, more laborers that can take the harvest, can reap this harvest in the harvest season, especially as we go into 2026 on this special edition of the David Daily Show. Thank you for watching and listening. So if you're a minister, if you're a pastor, if you're a preacher, someone in the faith space, we want you to share this not only with your team, but also with others in your world so that we can be educated when it comes to technology, to the future of AI and quantum. And that's exactly why we talk about quantum topics on this show and current events as well, so that you are well informed. But not only are you educated and inspired, but you become elevated in your knowledge, in your practical wisdom, and of course, you can be building that as well. So on today's special episode, December 28th, we have been streaming live for 28 days in a row. We're very thankful and excited for all the folks who joined us. Please join the newsletter. You can join the newsletter and stay informed and updated every single day across all major platforms. So as we come to a close, we actually have some other pieces in the news, but we do have some comments coming in. Looks like we've got Conan Colin talking about health and fitness. And we also have a comment here about the agentic temple, but it's not a big moneymaker, so way on the back burner. We love that as a concept, bringing in and integrating agentic concepts into the faith-based world. And with that, we're going to move to our special segment called Beyond the Bag. So Beyond the Bag is our fourth F on this show, which is full-time travel and fun and full-time travel. We love fun and full-time travel on Beyond the Bag. We put fun, full-time travel. And the reason why we like that is because we get to bring our latest and greatest near you. And so when we go Beyond the Bag, what we do is we reach into my backpack. I travel out of a backpack full-time this year, over 100 cities, over 30 countries. And this was a little USB device given to me. It is a SanDisk USB. And you see on the one side, it has a USB Type-C. And you have, if you move on the other side, it has a USB. So whether you have a PC or a laptop or any other type of a device, you can hook up this 256 gig thumb drive. It's one of my favorites. I put all of my shows on here on this little device. You can get it on TikTok Shop because we do love TikTok Shop, or you can buy it on a retailer near you. And for every Beyond the Bag segment, we'll be showcasing all of our products that we care about, that we travel with, because in full-time travel, you need fun. Full-time travel is something that we love and care about on the show. So this is a SanDisk 256 gig USB drive. I would recommend checking it out when you get a chance. All right, with that being said, thank you so much. Oh, looks like we've got some more comments coming in. Jeffrey, thank you so much for tuning in on the LinkedIn Marketing Podcast through David Goki and others. It looks like Jeffrey is saying there are no ethics in AI. Big tech is strip mining job applicant portfolios to cover for their incompetence and nepotism. This isn't debatable. I've proven it dozens of times over and over now. Thank you for your comments. We appreciate that. We've got lots of comments coming in from the LinkedIn side of the house, which is really great. And what we love about that is that we get to showcase our show and live in truth each and every day. That's an important aspect of what we're building here. And we thank you very much for being involved in this, understanding AI, quantum, and the future of technology. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. He is someone that maybe you'd want to be on the show. It'd be very interesting to have a conversation with you about some of these concepts. And just like we always do, we always encourage open perspectives and open opinions. Thank you so much for that. So as we come to a close on the show, just want to say thank you again for watching, for listening. We're going to head and close this stream, and we'll be on the live stream again tomorrow at 11 o'clock Eastern time in New York City and 8 Pacific. Thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow.